You're listening to the Everything Jewish 10 Minutes at a Time podcast, where you'll learn about every Jewish topic imaginable in about 10 minutes. And as always, I apologize for all of my Hebrew pronunciation. I know I'm going to pronounce Hebrew words wrong, so instead of getting annoyed, I give you permission to laugh at how I say things. Today's topic is Shemini Atzeret. If the Jewish holiday season were a long Netflix series, Shemini Atzeret would be the bonus episode you didn't know was coming, but suddenly realized ties the whole story together. It literally means the 8th day of assembly, following the 7 days of Sukkot. But here's the thing. It's not exactly Sukkot, and it's not exactly its own standalone holiday either. It's like God saying, hey, the party's been great. Let's spend just one more day together before you pack up the sukkah. Shemini Atzeret doesn't come with huts, palm branches, or matzah-level props. Instead, it's about slowing down, pausing, and savoring the relationship between God and the Jewish people. In Israel, it's rolled into Simchat Torah. But outside Israel, they're split into 2 days. Either way, it's the quiet, profound encore to a season of celebration. So, what actually happens on Shemini Atzeret? For starters, it's a holiday in its own right. Work is prohibited, like on other major holidays, and there are special prayers. One of the most famous is Tefillat Geshem, the prayer for rain. Because Shemini Atzeret falls in autumn, right before the rainy season in Israel, it became the traditional time to ask God for rain, essential for crops and survival. In ancient times, people's lives literally depended on the rains arriving in the right season. Today, in synagogues, Tefillat Geshem is still recited with beautiful, poetic language comparing the blessings of rain to the great figures of Jewish history. It's a reminder that Judaism ties spirituality to the cycles of nature. Even if you're sitting in a climate-controlled suburban synagogue, the prayer connects you to the land, to agriculture, and to the idea that life's blessings often depend on forces way beyond our control. Another key feature of Shemini Atzeret is its unique place in the holiday calendar. After the marathon of Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, and 7 days of Sukkot, Shemini Atzeret feels like a cool-down lap. The rabbis described it as God saying, "It's hard for me to see you go, so stay just one more day." Imagine a friend hosting a week-long wedding celebration, then asking you to stick around afterward for coffee and one more chat. That's the vibe. The Torah doesn't prescribe lots of rituals for Shemini Atzeret. No huts, no lulav and etrog, no new foods. Instead, the focus is on togetherness, prayer, and reflection. The simplicity itself is meaningful. After so many holidays packed with symbols and objects, Shemini Atzeret says, let's just be here together. No costumes, no props, just presence. In that way, it's one of the most intimate and relational days in the Jewish calendar. In Israel, Shemini Atzeret and Simchat Torah are celebrated on the same day, making it one giant festival of both solemnity and joy. Outside Israel, they're separated. Shemini Atzeret is on the first day, and Simchat Torah follows. That split creates an interesting dynamic. On Shemini Atzeret, the tone is quieter, prayerful, reflective, centered on rain and presence. On Simchat Torah, the energy explodes with dancing, singing, and celebration of finishing and restarting the Torah cycle. Together, they're like two sides of the same coin. First, intimacy and reflection, then joy and community. Whether combined or separate, the pairing highlights the Jewish rhythm of life, balancing quiet gratitude with loud celebration. It also highlights how Jewish holidays adapt across geography. The same holiday can feel slightly different depending on whether you're in Jerusalem or New Jersey. But at their core, both emphasize connection with God, with Torah, and with community. One of the coolest liturgical elements of Shemini Atzeret is that it marks the shift in prayer for the seasons. From this day on, Jews start mentioning rain in the Amidah prayer, Mashiv haruach umorid hagashem, who causes the wind to blow and the rain to fall. It's subtle but powerful. The change acknowledges that nature's rhythms matter and that spirituality pays attention to the seasons. Ancient Jews depended on rainfall. Modern Jews still depend on ecological balance. Shemini Atzeret makes that dependence explicit, reminding people that their prayers are tied not just to personal needs, but to the health of the earth itself. In a way, it's one of the most eco-conscious moments in the Jewish year. Sure, nobody's composting their sukkah decorations on Shemini Atzeret, but the idea is there. human survival is linked to rain, land, and balance. A prayer for rain is also a prayer for life. Shemini Atzeret doesn't have the same sensory overload as other holidays, and that's part of its charm. If Passover is a dinner theater and Sukkot is backyard camping, Shemini Atzeret is like a quiet coffee date. It's a reminder that sometimes the most meaningful relationships don't need elaborate rituals. They just need presence. That's why many rabbis describe Shemini Atzeret as a holiday of intimacy. The metaphor is of God asking the Jewish people to linger a little longer, to savor the moment before returning to regular life. After weeks of blowing shofars, fasting, building huts, and waving palm branches, Shemini Atzeret is refreshingly simple. It's a pause, a breath, a reminder that sacredness isn't always in the spectacle. Sometimes it's in the quiet, in the gratitude, in the rain, in the presence of community. Shemini Atzeret is Judaism's way of saying, don't rush back to routine just yet. In practice, Shemini Atzeret is observed with festive meals, prayer, and a sense of closure. Families may gather one more time for a holiday meal, often lighter than the big Sukkot feasts. Some communities begin the transition to Simchat Torah with early singing and dancing, blurring the line between the two. In Israel, the day feels especially celebratory since it's both Shemini Atzeret and Simchat Torah rolled into one. Outside Israel, the contrast is more pronounced. One day of reflection, one day of raucous joy. Both approaches emphasize the same theme, lingering in holiness. Whether through quiet meals, heartfelt prayers, or public dancing, Shemini Atzeret ensures the high holiday season doesn't just fizzle out. It ends deliberately, reminding people that time itself can be sacred. You don't always need matzah, costumes, or fireworks to make a holiday meaningful. Sometimes you just need one more day to be present. Because Shemini Atzeret lacks a lot of ritual stuff, it's often misunderstood or overlooked. Ask someone about Passover, and they'll talk matzah. Ask about Hanukkah, and they'll say menorahs. Ask about Shemini Atzeret, and you might get a confused shrug. But that's what makes it fascinating. It's a holiday that refuses to be defined by external symbols. Instead, it's about the inner experience of connection. It's about presence, gratitude, and prayer for rain. In a world that often measures meaning by how flashy something is, Shemini Atzeret's quietness is almost countercultural. It insists that depth doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes the most profound things happen in simplicity. That's why many rabbis say Shemini Atzeret is a hidden gem in the Jewish calendar. It may not come with props or snacks, but it comes with something even rarer: space to breathe, to reflect, and to appreciate before diving back into daily life. Even so, Shemini Atzeret has ripple effects. The prayer for rain, for instance, shapes Jewish liturgy for months until Passover. The memory of sitting together one last day after Sukkot lingers, reminding people that holidays don't exist only in their rituals, but in their relationships. And because in Israel it merges with Simchat Torah, it ensures the season ends on a joyful high note. The pairing is perfect. Shemini Atzeret's intimacy, followed by Simchat Torah's exuberance. It's like a two-part finale. First a heart-to-heart, then a dance party. Both emphasize that Judaism isn't only about laws and obligations. It's about joy, gratitude, and presence. Shemini Atzeret might not be the most famous holiday, but it's deeply woven into the rhythm of Jewish life. It's a quiet but crucial piece of the calendar puzzle. Without it, the high holiday season would feel unfinished, like a concert without an encore. So, that's Shemini Atzeret in about 10 minutes. It's the holiday of lingering one more day, of quiet meals and heartfelt prayers, of rain, presence, and intimacy. It's not flashy, but it's profound. It balances out the spectacle of other holidays with simplicity, reminding Jews that sometimes the deepest holiness comes in silence and stillness. Shemini Atzeret is God's way of saying, don't go yet, stay a little longer. And Jews, after weeks of rituals, fasting, and feasting, accept the invitation. Thanks for joining me for this whirlwind tour of Shemini Atzeret.